all you action figure enthusiasts out there, JC here with another T&I toy review. And for today's review, I'm going to be taking a look at the brand new DC Multiverse Platinum Collection Injustice 2 Superman figure from Mattel. Now this figure comes packaged in a similar style that we've been seeing with the new DC Multiverse figures. You've got the blue box. However, the packaging is a little bit wider than a normal Multiverse figure. Up at the top, you've got the Superman name and the Injustice 2 video game logo. The figure's clearly displayed in the window box. Off to the side, you have an image of Superman from the video game. Down below, you've got a little tab that says metal, and that's because these figures do incorporate die-cast metal. And then down below, you've got the DC Multiverse logo. On the side of the packaging, you just again have an image of Superman from the video game. And then on the back of the packaging, you have a brief bio in multiple languages for Superman. And then down below, a look at the actual figure, a quote from Superman from the video game, and then also a look at the other figure in this assortment, which is the Injustice 2 Batman figure, which I'll also be reviewing sometime this week. Alright, so let's get this figure open and take a look at what's inside. Okay, so here's a look at the figure outside the packaging along with the other contents. Now the only accessory that you get with this one is a display base, and this is done with just a circular piece of black plastic. You do have the DC Comic logo on the top there. It does have 2 foot pegs. Now you don't really need the stand for the figure to stay up, but because the figure is made with die-cast metal, it is somewhat heavy, and so if you're going to put it on a high shelf, you might want to use the display base just to give it some extra support so it doesn't fall off. If it did fall off the high shelf, it could do some damage. Okay, so for the figure itself, now overall starting with the face, I can't say I'm really digging it that much. I just think it looks a little bit off, doesn't look very much like Superman. Now I haven't actually played the Injustice 2 video game, so I can't really speak to how accurate it is to the game, but like when you compare the face sculpt they did for the Injustice Superman figure from the first video game, I think that one looks a lot better, looks much more like Superman to me. So I definitely like the face, the way the face looks on that previous figure. But otherwise, I think they did a pretty solid job. He's got this headpiece that he's wearing, and I do think that's in keeping with the game, and it's got the metallic blue and gold and some black, and it's got the chin strap there. He's got a little hair curl on the front there, and the hair is all done with just black. And then I do like how the Superman symbol on his chest looks, and you've got that metallic gold with the glossy red, and then you've got the triangle there that's sculpted on the front, and that connects to the cape, and the cape is a soft goods cape. So I do think the plastic cape on the older figure looks a little bit better to me, but that's just, I tend to prefer plastic capes over soft goods. If you like soft goods, then you'll probably dig this one. And then for the rest of the figure, you've got that metallic blue, and you've got some metallic gold here at the waist section, and then you've got that gray color throughout. And again, you've got some metallic gold up here on the shoulder and here on the lower arm, and he's got the red gloves. So all that I think looks pretty good, and you've got some nice sculpting detail on the legs with the costume and the boots and everything. So that seems to be pretty in keeping with how he appears in the game and everything. So overall, I think the figure is a solid looking one. I just don't really like the face sculpt that much. So this figure stands right about 6 3/4 inches tall, so it is taller than a normal 6-inch figure. Okay, and here's a comparison with the older Superman figure from the first Injustice video game that Mattel did. Now this is the only other Injustice video game figure that I own, so I don't have any of the other ones that Mattel did, but this was a normal 6-inch figure for their Unlimited line, and you can see it is shorter, and I do like how the metallic paints look on this newer figure. And then finally, for one more comparison, I wanted to show you this new figure with one of the Disney Star Wars Elite figures. That's what this new line reminds me of. These figures are also made with die-cast metal, and you can see they're about the same scale as well. Okay, so for articulation on this figure, you can turn the head to the left and to the right, and he can look down only about that much and can only look up about that much. Would have been nice if he could look up more for flight poses. And then with the arm, it's attached with your standard ball hinge joint there at the shoulder, so he can get his arm out about that much. Does have good rotation there at the shoulder, and then he does have a bicep swivel. Only has a single hinged elbow though, so he can bend his elbow about that much. No rotation at the elbow, and then has rotation with the wrist, but no hinges on the hand, so no up and down movement there. Does not have an ab crunch, does have a waist swivel, so he can rotate there at the waist, but that's the only articulation there you have at the midsection. With the legs, he can do the splits about that much. He does not have a thigh swivel, but that hinge joint does rotate, so you do get some rotation there with the upper leg. And then he only has a single hinged knee, so he can bend his knee that much. And then there's no ankle articulation with these, so no ankle pivot or anything like that. and then 2 peg holes on the bottom of the feet. Okay, so that's my review. So overall, I really wouldn't classify this as a normal action figure. I'd almost more put it in the statue category. It does have some articulation, but it's definitely not superposable. It seems to be made more for just displaying on your shelf. It does incorporate die-cast metal, and if you tried posing it around a lot, I am afraid that maybe those joints would get loose. I would say if you collect things like the Star Wars Elite Series figures from Disney, which are also made with die-cast metal, if you like those, then you'll definitely want to check these out. I think they're very similar to those Star Wars Elite Series figures. Now, both the Superman and the Batman figure will be released as GameStop exclusives here in the United States probably in the next month or so, and they are going to cost $30 each. They are currently hitting up in Canada at Walmart's, but again, here in the US, they will be GameStop exclusives. Now, we'll have a full image gallery up at toynewseye.com. There'll be a link in the video description below. As always, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. If you're so inclined, please like the video. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel by hitting that button down below. I'd really appreciate it. You can also follow me on my Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch accounts. I have links to all those in the video description as well. And until next time, guys, I'll catch you later.